When publishing niche websites with a lot of content, it's really important when you're not publishing all of your own work that you have a very strong team of writers that produce not only high quality content, but provide that material and content in a reasonable amount of time. I've decided to use Upwork as the main source for my writers for my newest large website. I'm currently working with 8 different writers on Upwork, and this video is a great template for understanding how to hire writers and what I currently communicate to my writers when hiring them to get the best possible price and a template and article that satisfies exactly what I'm looking for. So let's jump right into it. The initial screening process, you're gonna post a job posting on Upwork. This is important. There's a lot of small details to kind of make sure you follow to get the best pool of writers initially. Usually most of these type of job postings are a really good opportunity for them to write and receive a lot of work. So the way you promote this assignment is critical to having the best writers apply for your posting. So first off, for title, so for most situations, and this is obviously depending on what site you have, you're going to want a native English writer. So it's important to say that right off the bat as one of the main criterias for hiring a writer. So I usually say native English writer for, and if you're having a large blog, usually state that. If it's just a normal blog, that's fine as well. But say like native English writer for large, whatever your niche is, blog. And that's just your job posting. That's your initial impression on the writer. What are they working for? What are they looking to do? The next is the job description. This is pretty important. So usually what I say is we have started a new whatever blog and are looking for writers. We like to build the website to over X amount of articles containing informational content. Now, if your blog is going to be about product reviews, state that. That's a good time to say that in here. You want to make sure you're hiring somebody that maybe's had that experience before. And if they're able to connect their past experience with what you're currently looking for in your job description, they're more likely to apply and you're going to get maybe more qualified candidates. So prior experience writing in your niche is appreciated but not required. I do like to say that. I've noticed when I do mention this line in my job postings, about half my writers will respond and say, hey, I've written in this niche before, this is what I've done. And I almost get like more specified samples, which makes me even more willing to hire that writer. So it's definitely a good thing to mention. I mentioned again, it's a native English writer. And then for this particular assignment, I was looking for articles between 1,000 and 1,500 words, which is sometimes good. I think writers sometimes get intimidated when you just keep throwing 5,000 word articles at them. So mentioning that it is a smaller assignment could help you when it comes to hiring. And then the key thing here too is I say we have a structured format that we would kindly ask you to follow. I don't just want to give the writer a topic or even an article title and just have them kind of put out their own format of what the article looks like. I know some people do that for testing, but I really don't want to waste time with hiring. I kind of have my template in mind already. Most of my templates I write on my own. It's usually an article that I published on my site previously. I will send them that template if it's a similar topic in the same category and I want the article worded the same way. So that's important for me. It allows me to hire writers quicker, but I know people do have a different opinion of that. And I usually provide a sample article in the first assignment. I don't want to assign too much work right away in case the writer is not good, in case there's a miscommunication about formatting. I want to solve all those problems in that first article and not be overly invested in that single writer. Your sample article term, what we decide to offer you is a long-term rate. The job has potential to be a long-term hire and a member of our team. So another thing too is it may not be best to always negotiate your official price on your first article. Sometimes giving them like a generic price of maybe, oh, we do all $25 samples to our writers, and then from there, we're happy to negotiate a rate, I think is key, because not only are you trying to find what's the best fit for you, but the writer's trying to see if the work that they're putting in to write a high quality article is worth the money for them. So it's kind of a win for both sides. And I found a really good middle ground with setting this type of criteria at the end of the description. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from my writers. Usually always say it's an ongoing project. I think it only is going to benefit you. For most of my situations, my project's going to be several months, so I don't really want to write one-time project, short-term need, unless it's really like a one-off article. So I usually always do ongoing project, and that seems to do better with receiving more applications. I don't worry too much about what I fill out for expertise. I mean, content writing, editing and proofreading, content market strategy, research, SEO, blog content, article, web content. I mean, I don't think that stuff matters too much. Checking some of the ideas that you're interested in makes sense. It's more of just kind of the tags and the filters when the writers are applying. So the more you do, the better. And then this is another key, and I've seen a few people say different things about this before. There are native English writers outside the US that are very talented and very good writers and are actually willing to work with you on maybe more larger products for, larger projects for discounted rate. And I've actually had some of my best writers and writers that I've sent 50 to 100 articles to over the course of time from different countries, not in the US. So I would definitely go to worldwide when it comes to your talent location. You're going to get a way larger pool of applicants, and you can always simplify and filter that data down to US only, but might as well screen as much as you can, just kind of see what type of talent you're pulling from all different countries. Now, this is going to be really helpful. This is what I actually say once I get the application from a writer and I want to go further with finding out if they're going to work for our team. So the first thing I see on their application is their cover letter or their brief description of why they think they'll be a good fit for the job. And the other thing I look at is actually their ratings, right? So like how much money have they made from being a member of Upwork is important to me, as well as what's their actual rating from 0 to 100%. Usually my eyes kind of gravitate towards the people that are 85% and higher with higher amount of earnings, but also I'm cautious because sometimes higher amount of earnings doesn't always mean the best writers for your situation, right? Like having a very high earner could sometimes be someone that's a premium service charging $70 to $80 per 1,000-word article, which is something maybe I don't need. And wasting my time to reach out to that person is not always the best. So first thing I'll say to them is say, hey, thanks for applying. How much do you charge per word? And I'll ask for samples that they didn't include them in the application. And that's usually the writers that have a good rating. Their earnings is something that makes sense to me where they had some success before on Upwork. If they didn't have success, I'll kind of read that cover letter more in depth to see what they offer. I wait for them to respond. Usually if they respond with a rate that's like really low, I kind of get concerned about quality. I usually want them to respond anywhere between a rate from $25 to like $45. And then I come back and say, to completely honest, we're hiring a writer to take on a topic where we only want to pay. And then you can put your desired rate per word. I think being straightforward, upfront, and honest about what you're willing to pay for writers is critical to retaining talent and having people happy with you as a manager of their content. So I think I try and be very straightforward and honest upfront. Then I tell them we're very interested in building a long-term relationship with our writers that includes pay raises, performance bonuses. In order to maximize our writers, we want them to feel comfortable with the topics that they write. So I am, always open to paying my writers more, especially if they do good work, happy to up their rates, even paying bonuses at the end of larger orders, bonuses, tips, whatever you want to call it. It does keep people a little more involved, keeps them excited about working with you. If I feel like there's a writer I really want to keep, I'm happy to up their rate if it's justified by their writing. And then I do want to tell them, like, I want you to be comfortable with the topics you're writing. I don't want you to write about a topic that you don't enjoy or don't feel like you add a lot of value, because then it's not going to be a win for either party. And then the key to the end is you want to get that sample article. So I say, will you be interested in preparing a sample article? We will provide a brief template, but leave some creativity open to you. The sample article will be paid our standard. And I usually do $20 per 1,000 words. At some points, to some writers, I usually say 25 or 30, just to get that sample in and see how they do. Because if there's a writer that really excites me for maybe $30 or even $40 a 1,000 words, I'm willing to work with them, and depending on the quality. And that's really worked for me. I've gotten a lot of good samples from this. It makes me eager to reach out to writers, knowing I kind of have this template in mind of what I'm going to say to them and how I'm going to negotiate a rate. And you wind up finding those writers that are a high quality, reasonable price in that $20, $25 range that are native English writers, and they can really follow your template, which is great. And once they say yes, happy to take on the sample. Wow, it's paid, that's great. Please send over what the sample is. So then this is what I send back. I say, like we mentioned, you'll be writing for your niche blog. Your niche blog is built to answer underserved topics on the internet. Your specific assignment will be answering the question, and it could be like an article question or desired topic. It's maybe a how-to article or a can you, how does, any of those articles. If you're doing like a whole cluster of topics that have like the same title, just a different item or a different subject, this is a really good template for that. I tell them most of these articles in a 1,000-word range. That was for this assignment. And then I usually give them a sample link to reference. Now, it doesn't have to be for that same exact topic. What I'm trying to show them here is this is the format I want. And what I've been doing now is I actually link them to a format on my site already that I probably wrote already, or I had another writer who I trust their formatting write it for me so they can reference it directly. And I'll say, please take notice on how we're crafting the article. This is our template. Or you can put a competitor's link in there and tell them, this is what our competitor does. We like what they do. We want to replicate their formatting, their template. We think it's a good job of communicating what we're trying to offer in terms of value to our readers. Briefly introduce the topic and answer the question directly with a bullet response. So these are really good for the questions that maybe you're searching for an underserved response post on Google and no one really has an answer for it, and you're targeting that topic or keyword and it's a question. Answer the question at the beginning of the article, or even if in the middle of the article, end of the article, and bold that answered response. I think not only is it good for SEO and trying to win snippets, but it really helps your writer kind of get the idea of, okay, this is like the main point of the article. This is the point. This is what we're trying to prove. And then for the subheadings throughout the article, you can kind of reference what the answer was to other related areas in that topic without getting like too off subject. I think that does a really good job of keeping them, locked into what they're writing about. And then I give them their sample topic and I say, please try and follow our instructions the best that you can. We will be assigning this topic to several writers and will award the job to the best article that follows our desired flow. I've gotten some really good feedback from my writers on sending this article message. They said it's very key. It's very easy to understand what I'm trying to have my writers do. Very clear. Sometimes I get a question back like, oh, do you want format like this? Do you want charts? I usually say yes. And they're eager to get that sample article back to anywhere between 24 to 48 hours. What I've noticed is if they do get your article back quicker to you in that sample, odds are that for the length of your project, they're going to be one of your faster writers. And if they take longer to get a sample back to you, and I mean like 48 hours plus, they're going to be one of your slower writers. So you can actually learn a lot by your initial one post sample to a writer. And then the last part here is just once you get that sample back from the writer and you're editing it, reviewing it, try and note all the edits that you make if you think that's a writer you want to keep, and send them the edits that you wind up making, as well as what the article looks like when it's maybe published onto your site. They love when their article is published. They're more likely to take a closer look when it's live. Send them that live article, have them really pay attention to the formatting. And if you're still unsure, say, hey, can we do one more sample? Just want to confirm, that you understand our formatting and that everything makes sense. They usually say, great, you can send them another sample. If not, then you can start sending larger chunks of articles. At this point, there's samples I've gone back. I was really happy with the writer and I sent them anywhere from 5 to 10 articles at a time. I usually don't want to send more than 1 week worth of writing to a single writer. I think it overwhelms them. I think it's a lot to have on their plate. They're going to get paid the same per article either way. Might as well just send shorter orders early on so they feel like they're accomplishing their work. You're having a good understanding of them writing it, following templates. You can review them on a more frequent basis. And I think it just works better. I like knowing all my writers are kind of working on between 8 to 10 articles per order. And as they finish those articles, I say, send them back to me. And as soon as I get the article in my inbox on Upwork, I'm starting to, edit it and publish it as soon as possible. So that's really key, making sure you get your articles back from the writers as soon as they're done with them, rather than waiting till the end of the project. It avoids those, maybe days or even week lag that article goes on your site, allows your content to start ranking. And when you're doing a massive content push like I am of publishing 1,000 informational articles onto my new website that I started in December 2020, you want to get that content up as fast as possible. Make sure you guys like the video if this was helpful. Happy to do more of these videos about how I manage my team and upload content on my website the best way possible. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to subscribe to follow along to my journey. Thanks, guys.